In the 6th chapter of John, Jesus says to his followers, "Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood shall have life." Welcome to one of our videos from St. Mark's Episcopal in Dalton, Georgia, and welcome all those joining us on Facebook and YouTube and what other medium. We're in the season of Advent, and in Advent we prepare for the coming of Jesus. And a good question for that is, where did Jesus go? Because Jesus is here. Jesus has came. But we celebrate, commemorate the coming of Jesus and the incarnation of God and the body of Jesus as a human. But Jesus continually comes. Jesus came back after the resurrection. Jesus came back in Pentecost. Jesus continually comes into our hearts day by day, and then also Jesus comes every time we celebrate the Eucharist. And plus we always celebrate and look forward to the coming of God's kingdom on earth. So there's a lot of times when Jesus comes into our life, but Advent is a time that we think about that and commemorate it, as Reverend Perry Scruggs often says when he comes to St. Mark's, that we are always in Advent. Well, let's think about a little bit about Jesus coming through the Eucharist. In the 17th chapter of Leviticus, God is telling Aaron and Moses about what to tell the Israelites and giving them certain rules about how to behave around the temple and the tabernacle. Now, and after the Exodus, before they go to the Holy Land, God gives the Israelites the tabernacle when He comes and dwells among them. But they must keep the area pure. They must keep any signs of sin or death. They must purify anything. And He tells them to tell the Israelites, He says, do not drink blood, because the life of the flesh is in the blood. So there's no eating or drinking and taking of blood or especially of human flesh, but can only slaughter animals and eat them after the blood is gone. We'd imagine many centuries later the scandal, the heresy that when Jesus suggested in the 6th chapter of John to his disciples and those following Him, He says, you must eat my flesh and drink my blood. And when He says that, many of the disciples left. And Jesus turns to the 12 chosen ones and says, are you going to leave too? And they decide not to. But this is a part of it, that Jesus comes to us. And Jesus, when He institutes the Last Supper in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, basically He tells everybody, He says, you will eat my body and drink my blood, and you will reenact this, and I will come each time that you reenact it, and I will be with you. The Gospel of Matthew starts out with the angel of the Lord speaking to Joseph and saying that you'll have a son, his name shall be Emmanuel. It means God with us. Well, the book of Matthew ends with Jesus telling His disciples, sending them out to the world. He says, I will be with you always. So Jesus is always with us. But Jesus comes to us with through the Eucharist. Every time we take the Eucharist, He doesn't only come to us, but He dwells in us. Jesus dwells in us and we in Him. For that we will say, thanks be to God.